Hello everyone, it's really lovely to see you again. And today it's Easter Sunday. I don't know whether you've perhaps already had an Easter egg hunt round your garden, or maybe you've been given a chocolate Easter egg, or maybe this week you've been up to All Saints Church and done the Easter egg hunt in the grounds around the church and found all those great big Easter eggs. There are lots of different hiding places, and then won a prize at the end. Well, I want to tell you an amazing story. It's all about God. Do you know, he loves us so much, he sent his son Jesus to us so that we can be friends with God. This is the story of Easter. This is the story of Easter. Jesus looked after people. He did some incredible miracles. Jesus said he was the way for everyone to be friends with God. But some people didn't like that. One day, Jesus went to Jerusalem and got his friends together for a special supper in the upper room. Jesus washed his friends' stinky feet, and he taught them something really important, that we should love each other the same way he loves us. Jesus said, "Eat this bread and wine and remember me." And they probably sang their favourite songs too. Later on, Jesus went to the garden to pray. His friends went with him, but they all fell asleep. Jesus prayed and talked with God, his Father in heaven. They had a plan together to save all the people in the world. But suddenly, soldiers came to arrest Jesus and took him away. His friends were afraid and all ran off. The leaders asked Jesus, "Are you the Son of God?" And Jesus said yes, and the leaders didn't like that. The soldiers hurt Jesus and made fun of him. They gave him a crown of spiky thorns to hurt his head, and they gave him a big, heavy cross to carry. And they pinned him up by his hands and feet. Some people shouted at Jesus, "If you really are God's son, climb down." Jesus could have climbed down. He could have made it all stop. But he stayed there because he loves us. It was all part of God's plan. Then Jesus died, and Mary and everyone cried. The sky got really dark. The sun couldn't shine. They put Jesus' body in a tomb, and they pushed a huge stone in front of the door so that no one could get in. But that's not the end of the story, because 3 days later, God sent an angel from heaven. When the soldiers saw the angel, they got scared and ran off, and the angel rolled the stone away. Some of Jesus' friends came to the tomb to wash Jesus' body, but the tomb was empty. And they saw the shiny angel who said to them, "Don't be afraid. Jesus is not here. He's not dead anymore. Jesus is alive again." Well, the friends rushed home to tell everybody. That was except Mary. She decided to stay a bit longer. She thought the gardener was coming to talk to her, but it was Jesus. Jesus was alive again. A few days later, Jesus' friends were all together having dinner, and then Jesus appeared to them. They were a bit scared at first, but then they got very excited. And Jesus explained God's plan, that now nothing, not even really bad stuff, can separate us from being friends with God. Hundreds of people saw Jesus before he went up to heaven, and now we can call heaven home too and be with Jesus when we die, because Jesus is alive and he's here in our hearts. And that's the story of Easter. But that's still not the end of the story, because God loves me and God loves you. God loves everybody, and he wants us to be his friends. How exciting is that? Now, I was thinking, what could we do to remind ourselves of the story this week? And I've got a bit of a bigger project for you. I thought it would be lovely to make an Easter garden. I had a go at making one in my greenhouse. You'll have to forgive the slightly wobbly camera because it was tricky to film. But here is my Easter garden and how to make it. This is how I made my Easter garden. So I've got a tray of compost, and you could use something a bit smaller than this, or you could do it in a space in the garden. I found a flower pot. I've got a black one because it makes it look nice and dark, and that's going to be my tomb. So I'm going to put that and bury it a little bit in the compost, and then round the back of it or over the top of it I'm going to make a hill by piling up the earth on top. So I'll use some of that from the front. So I'm going to make like a hill in front of my garden and smooth this bit down. There we are. And then, can you remember what was in front of the tomb? That's right, there was a big stone, wasn't it? So no one could get in. But because it's Easter Sunday, I'm going to put my stone at the side because Jesus is alive. Easter Sunday. And I'm going to use, I've got some moss, so I'm going to use that to cover over my hill, make it look like grass. Little bitty bits, I'm afraid, but you might be able to find some in your garden. Let's put it over like that. So that's to make it look a bit like a green hill. Not sure they would have had green hills, but anyway, that's what we've got. So there's my empty tomb and the stone that was rolled away. Now I've got some twigs and I've joined them together with an elastic band to make a cross, and I'm going to put that on top of my hill. And if you want to, you could make 3 for the other 2 people. So you've got one for the other 2 people that were on the crosses at the same time as Jesus, but that's Jesus' cross in the middle. Now I've got some little gravel. I'm just going to use that to make a pathway in my garden. And then I've got some plants. So I thought these ones looked a bit like palm trees. So I'm going to bury those in there. They've got big palm tree-like leaves, haven't they? I've got a couple of those. Now don't dig up anything out your mum and dad's garden or anyone's garden without asking first. I've got another little bush there. Just put that one in. You might just, if you haven't got plants, you could just pick some twigs. There's one that looks a bit like a palm tree as well. Or some rosemary I've got there. And if you've got a few spring flowers, you could pop those in too, just to make it look pretty. They don't stand up very well, I'm afraid. Or even some other flowers. There we are. I've chosen purple ones because they remind me about the curtain that was torn in 2 in the temple when Jesus died. And you can use some more stones. If you've got some stones, you could use them to decorate the garden a bit more, or some twigs. I'm sure you can think of lots of ways of making a beautiful Easter garden. But there we go, there's mine. Have fun making one. Well, that's all for today. I hope you have fun having a go at making an Easter garden. And maybe you can do one in the garden, or maybe you could build an Easter garden out of Lego or cardboard, or you could just draw a fantastic picture with the Easter story. Whatever you do, I hope you have a lovely Easter holidays, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. There won't be a video next week, but we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. So, bye-bye everybody. Have a great time.